For you to see Rick Pitino in April win another title at Louisville, and I know we've talked about this before. I've talked with Rick about this, about just the incredible personal transformation that he's undergone in his life. I think 9/11 and losing his best friend and brother-in-law had something to do with it, but it must give you a lot of joy just to see him in a very contented place in his life. He's not looking to go anywhere or do the next thing. He's really very present, and then to see him win a championship, it just must have been real neat for you, right?
Well, it was.
He loves you as much, as not maybe more than some of his own kids.
Well, for me, I was so happy. I was so disappointed. Some things came up. I couldn't get there. I wanted to be there for him on that night. The thing that I enjoyed, so much was he was there when I had a chance to be a part of a national championship. He was right in the front there, and I brought him out on the court because he's obviously meant so much to my life. I think the hardest part for me with Coach Pitino that I still to this day struggle with, he is such a great guy. And a lot of times I know he's talked about things in his life that he's transformed in, and I've heard him talk a lot about, the level of humility he has. I always saw that in him. He gave me the shirt off his back. He gave me an opportunity. He hired me as a coach. He's done so many different things in my life, and I've seen his generosity. And I think a lot of times people have a tendency with a figure like that to look from the outside in and cast a judgment of who he is. And he's anything but that. And that's the thing that I wish, and I think people now are starting to see that, who the real Rick Pitino is. He is a great guy. He's a friend, he's a mentor, he's someone that I have unbelievable respect and admiration for, someone I'll always be thankful for all the things that he's done for me in my life. Last thing, so we go the teacher route, let's go the student route, and I want you to talk about Shaka Smart. Gets hired off of your staff and is just lighting the world on fire at VCU, turning down all kinds of money. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking sometimes, but tell me about sort of how you met him, what you saw in him, and how surprised are you at the high level of success that he's having at a place like VCU? Well, I did not know Shaka at all. My assistant coach, Rob Lanier, had a relationship with him, and we had some turnover in our staff, and Rob had mentioned Shaka to me as being a guy that, we really need to take a look at. And I interviewed Shaka, and I spent time with him, and people I called that were friendly with Shaka, that were around Shaka, had nothing but great things to say about him. I think the one thing that I can say, if there's a common thread from assistant coaches that I've had that have moved on, is extremely motivated, very, very innovative, creative, and always thinking outside the box of how they can make themselves better and the team better. I think the hardest part for Shaka was he was here for 10 months at Florida and then got this opportunity at VCU. And just to give you an idea of what kind of guy he is, he did not want to take the job. He actually thought it was wrong. He felt like he did not do enough at Florida or invest enough time at Florida. And he thought he was putting me in a very, very difficult situation leaving after 10 months. And the one thing about college coaching is you never know when an opportunity is going to knock. I always thought he was going to be incredibly successful because he's a great communicator. He really, really is always thinking about ways to make his team better. He's very bright. He's smart. He's a very, very humble guy. All the aspects of what you see. A little bit of that chip on the shoulder thing, like us against the world. Everyone's picking against us. Well, I think some of that stuff, I think as a coach, you're always using an angle. You're always using something to motivate your team. And I think that for him, maybe the mid-major level, or maybe people at one time saying he shouldn't have been in the NCAA tournament, I think those things were used. But as Shaka as a guy, I don't think is any different than any coach out there that's successful. He's competitive. He's driven, he's motivated, he gives it a lot of thought. I think the thing about him that I admire most is he's an incredibly deep thinker about life. Not only about coaching his team, but about life, about different things. And I admire that in him. So I'm not one bit surprised at the success he's had, because he'll continue going on. And the other thing, Seth, is, as you said earlier, surprised with turning down the money. Shaka's never been a guy about money. It's not about that for him. I think for him, it's about people. It's about a fit. It's about where he feels comfortable. And, I share this view too. If you do something well enough, you're always going to be compensated fairly. But if you go and you chase the money, and that's the sole entity of why you want to do something, eventually if you get into a situation that's not right,
it's not going to work out. And I think Shaka realizes that as successful as he is, a lot of people are going to be taken care of. His players are going to be taken care of. People at VCU are going to benefit from him. He'll benefit from it. But I think in terms of a person just chasing the money part of it, I get the idea of what money can do to change people's lives. I totally understand that. But I think for Shaka, he makes a very, very good living at VCU. They've been committed to him, and I think if there's something out there that really piques his interest where he feels like this is a great fit, I think he'll pause and really, really evaluate it of what's best for himself. And he's had some opportunities, but we've seen a lot of coaches who've had great opportunities and have chased a job and gone after something where financially it's a lot better, but maybe it wasn't the best fit. And I think Shaka's a deep enough thinker that he's going to look at the fit all the way around. Who is the athletic director? Who is the president? How do I gel and mesh? Do we share the same kind of vision? You know, those things are going to be very, very important to him.
Well, between what you turned down with the Magic and what he's turned down, I mean, you guys are turning down money left and right. I mean, you know, feel free to kick it to the blue-collar guys. But Billy the Kid, always great to see you.
Thanks, Seth.
I'm not sure you're really a kid anymore, but
no,
it's a better ring than Billy the middle-aged guy. Maybe
yes, I appreciate it.
New, but
thank you.
The coming season.
I appreciate it.
On the next episode of the Seth Davis Show, presented by Cadillac, Campus Insiders heads west to chat with new USC head basketball coach Andy Enfield.
Talk about life changes, it all happening so fast. Are you feeling that change in your life yet, or is that feeling that things are so much different yet to come once the season starts?
I've done the basketball part and lived at the beach, so this is not new to me. However, if you would ask me 12 months ago or even 5 months ago, do you think you would have been the coach at USC? I would have looked at you and probably shaken my head a few times.